is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome. Great to start the week with you. 888-900-3393. With a new week comes a new bingo card as well. We've got it pinned to the top of Pat Unleashed at Twitter. And all you have to do when you get bingo, either across, down, diagonally, you want to be the first to call 888-900-3393.
Yeah, an abbreviated week, too.
All right. Yeah. So we'll probably figure this out by Wednesday.
Yeah, probably.
Would be my guess. So you'll win when you do that. $30 worth of merchandise from packraceshop.com and a dozen cookies from Kexi.com. Starts in the upper left-hand corner with me saying, why are they speaking gibberish? Uh-huh. And we got Jeffy with boogie.
Bougie.
Bougie. Oh, not boogie. Duh. I was thinking, when
early.
does he ever say boogie?
It's early.
Bougie. Joe Biden with
God save the Queen, man.
Uh-huh. Chris saying, yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Me with all come free. Then at the start of the next row, what is this? Russia? What is this? Russia? Barack.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
Yep. Keith saying
Idiocracy.
And then we've got Jennings.
Flaccid Iranian response.
Right. Jeffy says, your boy. Joe Biden again. Gonna put y'all back in chains.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
Me. Taught their English to our young. That's the old Indian reservation lyrics, which come in handy quite often. Then Lee Greenwood wrapping up his song in West Virginia from 2003 at the Rally for America celebration, the original one. Me talking about the French surrender monkeys. Then we got the impeached Mayorkas, Alexander Mayorkas, with the border. The border is secure. I think, pretty sure I do have that.
The border is secure.
Keith with
What is happening?
Mm-hmm. The Price is Right, wrong answer sound, which is something like that.
That's the greatest sound effect in
I love it.
game show history.
Jeffy, write your own jokes. Joe with
The blood of liberty.
There it is. Mm-hmm. Me, but in Europe. In Europe. Chris with 100.
Yeah, he just stops there.
Yeah. For some reason, he thinks it's cool that you don't say the percent. 100%. 100. Okay, whatever. And he's still out. He's still gone.
Yeah, I guess it takes 4 days to get back from Peru.
Wow. Isn't there something called air travel nowadays?
I think he's swimming.
Some new, is he? Okay. Okay. Well, you could still do that in like a day and a half.
Right.
And it's taking him 4 days.
Try harder.
We do not tolerate hectoring.
That's a good one.
Trump with...
They don't know what the they're doing.
Okay. Keith says...
NMP, not my problem.
And me talking about Chucky Schumer. All right. So there it is. Be listening for those cues to call in or to fill up your sheet and then call in. A couple of quick sports notes. On Saturday night, Jake Paul had another, from what I understand, I didn't watch it because I was not going to be duped this time. And it sounds like it was a really good thing that I wasn't because I guess it was another boring fight where Julio Cesar Chavez barely threw any punches, just like Mike Tyson. Are these things being set up? Jake Paul beat Julio Cesar Chavez in a unanimous decision because he threw like 3 times the punches. Landed twice as many punches. So I guess even his dad in the audience, it looked like he was disgusted with the fight.
Wow.
Yeah. But Jake Paul won again. He's 12-1 now. So I guess, according to one of the WBC officials, he's going to be ranked now. So that will be interesting to see. And speaking of Jake Retzloff, who was the starting quarterback for BYU. We mentioned this. He was being sued for rape, which he absolutely categorically denies. Says it was consensual all the way. And they just had a nice evening together. And his response through his lawyers to the lawsuit was, I thought, pretty compelling. But he did break the honor code one way or the other. And so it just came out over the weekend, and BYU hasn't confirmed this, neither has Jake Retzloff, but they're suspending him for 7 games. So he's leaving. And will be transferring out of BYU, maybe today. I don't know. We'll see. But, the honor code is there to protect you from this stuff. You could have had a great senior season with a championship team, and now, who knows? It's all up in the air for you. And the other thing is, the women's Swiss soccer team that we talked about on Friday that was crushed by a boys team. I don't think we knew at the time that the boys team was indeed an under 15 boys team.
Oh, no.
They're under 15-year-olds. And they beat the women's Swiss national soccer team 7-1. I mean, come on.
Yeah, at least they didn't call the game. Because didn't the U.S. women here in Dallas, didn't they say,
stopped.
We want to stop now.
Yeah, they stopped because they were getting killed so badly. If there were any lingering doubts about whether it's fair for male athletes to compete against female athletes, this should put that to rest once and for all. Can we stop? It was a 6-goal victory for 14-year-old boys over a women's national team. That's like losing 36-0 in football. You think about that. It is a massive defeat. But I'm sure the debate will continue, and we'll continue to hear that there's no difference and it's no big deal and it's never been proven, even though there's another massive blowout. In the article, by the way, about this loss, the same team played another boys team a couple of years ago and lost 6-1. Another one lost 7-0. These are all like 16 and under, 15 and under boys.
Goodness.
You notice they're not playing like the men's national team. They're playing 15 and 14 and 13-year-old boys. So, yeah, there must be a difference here, right? There must. So some of the comments were fun. Like under the clip of the beating that the boys administered to the women's national team. Equal pay for the under 15 boys. I love that. That's a great comment. Anyway, maybe we can put that argument to rest now. It seems pretty clear to me. All right. The latest on that very bizarre situation and tragic situation in Idaho, where 2 firefighters were shot dead by a sniper. One was injured. This happened near Coeur d'Alene. They were responding to a fire, and they get shot for their trouble. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's so bizarre.
We don't know. Did the guy who shot them set it on purpose?
Yes, that's what's believed.
Yeah. So he set it on purpose, apparently, to draw firefighters to the area, and then shot 2 of them. Well, 3 of them, and 1 survived.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
then they found him dead later on, committed suicide.
We are
not positive
it hasn't
it's
been
him.
confirmed. Yeah, that's how he died. We don't know if someone shot him, if he shot himself. But it was interesting how they were able to locate him with his cell phone, and that's how they were able to figure that out.
Wow.
One thing that's curious, and I mean, it's been almost 12 hours now, right? Mm-hmm. Do we have the identity of the shooter yet?
Not that I've seen.
Huh.
Not that I've seen.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that must be problematic for the left.
I mean, we know whose cell phone it was. The authorities do, by being able to track him.
Right. Right. So, yeah, we should know the name. Interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Also, in other news, Friday was another good day for the Trump administration, with multiple Supreme Court rulings being handed down that were pretty favorable For instance, parents can now opt out their children from reading LGBTQIA2+ material. That's a win for parents. That's fantastic.
I guess, but shouldn't they be able to? It shouldn't be opt-in.
Yeah, you should. Uh-huh.
The default shouldn't be, here is the rainbow jihad in your kids' faces.
Right. But you couldn't even do that before.
Right.
So at least there's that. Supreme Court upheld South Carolina's ban on Medicaid funds for Planned Parenthood. Mm-hmm. The verdict the White House appreciated the most was the Supreme Court stopping judicial injunctions from being applied nationwide. So you got one guy in a courtroom in Maryland deciding that some sort of nationwide policy can't be enacted. Well, they put a stop to that. And White House Deputy Director Stephen Miller was more than happy to celebrate that.
There's about 677 district court judges in the United States of America. It takes only a small handful of those 677 to cause unimaginable havoc all throughout the country and the federal government. Because any one of these judges, say a single judge in San Francisco or a single judge in Boston or a single judge in Manhattan, can, before today's Supreme Court ruling, issue an edict that is binding on the entire nation. Nobody living in Texas, for example, consented to be ruled by a judge in San Francisco. Nobody living in Oklahoma consented to be ruled by a judge living in Chicago. But under the system, any judge, any communist judge, any Marxist judge, any crazy left-wing judge could decide major national questions for the whole country. So, for example, they could decide that the Pentagon must allow transgender troops and service members into every single part of the U.S. military, and the President and the Secretary of Defense are powerless to do anything about it. Or a single district court judge could decide, for example, that an entire class of illegal aliens is exempt from deportation in all 50 states in the entire country. Or a single judge could rule, for example, that a major federal agency would be forced to pursue illegal race-based discrimination, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So policy after policy after policy was being decided not by the elected president, the one official elected by the whole American people, but by unelected judges. And in many cases, we're talking about unelected tyrants who are imposing their will on the entire nation. So this is really a momentous ruling.
Yeah. It really is an important one. There were several important ones, some really good decisions, and it looked like Amy Coney Barrett is kind of on board with conservatism again, with, traditional constitutional rulings again. We hope.
We hope so.
It looked better this time anyway. I don't know.
Some of the greatest beatdowns in Supreme Court history happened.
Wow. Yeah. Because she had some pretty entertaining things to say about the ridiculous writings from Ketanji Brown Jackson, where she couldn't even figure out, do you even understand U.S. law? She's not even citing it, by the way. She's talking about international law, oftentimes. But one of the things that Amy Coney Barrett said was, instead to the majority, the power-hungry actors are...
Well, this
is factually from Ketanji Brown Jackson, right? So she's responding.
Yeah, she wrote in her opinion, wait for it.
Wait for it.
Wait, what are we on the social media app?
The district courts. Yeah, wait for it. Yeah, we're reading this
instead of the majority,
now, right?
The power-hungry actors are, wait for it, the district courts. A juvenile.
Bizarre.
She is.
Bizarre.
DEI, SCOTUS, justice.
Yep. And so... Amy Coney Barrett kind of went after her multiple times, and it included Justice Jackson would do well to heed her own admonition. Everyone from the president on down is bound by law. That goes for judges, too. And she had this. We will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself. It makes you wonder if Ketanji Brown Jackson's ever even read the Constitution. And she had this. Justice Jackson skips over that part because analyzing the governing statute involves boring legalese. Some little battle there.
Yep.
You know, and I think that's great because she was said to be getting pretty cozy with the other females on the court, including Ketanji Brown Jackson. So maybe this takes away some of that coziness. I would hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Let me tell you about real estate agents I trust. Because when the time comes to move, whether you're moving in the same town or you're anywhere else in the country, wherever you're going, you're going to want a real estate agent who is really good at what they do, right? You're going to want somebody who knows what they're doing, not some fly-by-night moonlighter who just doesn't cut it. Glenn found that out years ago when he used to have to move around a lot, and he got tired of dealing with mediocre agents, mediocre at best in some cases. So he created a service called Real Estate Agents I Trust. It connects you with top-performing agents who actually care about your outcome. Agents who are experienced, they're vetted, they're committed to helping you buy or sell with confidence. Whether you're moving across the country or just across town, these are people Glenn would hire himself. And the only ones he puts his name behind because your move isn't just your move, it's your life. And you deserve to work with somebody who treats it that way. And those are Real Estate Agents I Trust. That's who will do that with you. Real Estate Agents I Trust. The name says it all. realestateagentsitrust.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Inside the White House on Friday, President Trump acknowledged the economy is improving, but still had some choice words for Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, who continues to avoid interest rate cuts.
But we have a guy that's just a stubborn mule and a stupid person that is making a big mistake. He's making a mistake, and it lasts for years because when you do the debt. Now, I've instructed my people not to do any debt beyond 9 months or so. Get this guy out, and whoever is in there will lower rates. If I think somebody's going to keep the rates where they are or whatever, I'm not going to put them in. I'm going to put somebody that wants to cut rates. There are a lot of them out there. And I said this morning, a lot of the business shows today were saying, Trump is right. He should be cutting rates. Think of it. We have a great country. We're making a lot of money. We're taking in billions of dollars in tariffs. We have $15 trillion of money that wants to be invested here, which is a record. In 2 months, it breaks any record that we've ever had for a whole year, and not even close. 15 trillion, and it's going to be much higher than that. That's after essentially 2 months, because we've been doing it for about 2 months, 2.5 months. $15 trillion breaks every record in the book. There's never been anything like this. We have factories moving in, we have car plants moving in, we have everyone wants to be part of the United States.
Okay. He's also unhappy with Canada as well.
So Canada, I put a charge on some of our companies, and Canada's been a very difficult country to deal with over the years. We hear Canada, we have a great relationship with the people of Canada, but it's been very difficult, and they put a charge, and they were a little bit early, we found out about it. So, and we have all the cards. We have every single one. We don't want to do anything bad.
Take the deal.
They have, economically, we have such power over Canada. I'd rather not use it, but they did something with our tech companies today trying to copy Europe. They copied Europe. It's not going to work out well for Europe either, and it's not going to work out well for Canada. They were foolish to do it. And so I said, we're going to stop all negotiations with Canada right now until they straighten out their act.
I mean, that was a big deal, that retroactive tax that Canada was trying to sneak in there.
And I think they've already removed that.
They've already taken it back. They're like, our bad, sorry.
Never mind. No.
It was like $3 billion going back to 2022 on like Google, Amazon, stuff like that.
Wait, that digital tax we were talking? Yeah, that's no. I don't know who sneaked that in, but that's not part of our deal.
I mean, how do you hide $3 billion?
I don't know. That's incredible.
Anyway, that was funny. They've already taken it back.
It already worked. It already worked.
So they want to get back to the negotiating table with Trump.
Yeah, they do.
Sorry, you saw that?
They don't know what the they're doing.
That's right.
Exactly. And somebody else Trump isn't happy with Republican Congressman Thomas Massie. This is unfortunate, this whole battle here. But here's an ad now focused on defeating Massie next election cycle.
What happened to Thomas Massie? President Trump is banning sex changes on minors. Massie voted against it.
Pay attention to all of these references underneath
Kentucky families $10,000. Massie voted against it. President Trump is securing our border and deporting criminal aliens. Massie voted against Trump again. And after Trump obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program, Massie sided with Democrats and the Ayatollah. Let's fire Thomas Massie. MAGA Kentucky is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Kentucky.
Wow. I'd like to know the details on it.
A lot of those are in the big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
boy.
Yep. I will just remind the president, with all due respect, the House of Representatives margin is very thin for Republicans.
Yeah, very.
Maybe we focus on some Democrat battles.
And after Thom Tillis voted against the big, beautiful bill, he announced his retirement. He's not going to run again because Trump is going to run somebody against him. He's going to support somebody else. Good. So that was it for Thom Tillis.
I seriously think Thom Tillis was just voting against the big, beautiful bill just because he hates Trump. It had nothing to do with any kind of principle other than that.
And claimed it did.
And Laura Trump looks like she's serious about a run for that Senate seat now in North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it will. So, yeah, there's a little bit of a list now of people that President Trump is unhappy with. Still, though, he had a week of a bunch of victories.
Sure did. I mean, seriously, if you go from Saturday night to Saturday night,
yeah,
it was the hits just keep on coming.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And in fact, Keith put together a little list here.
This is where the list is. Put it up on the screen there if you got
small
that.
print. Looks like this, though. Mm-hmm. Precision strikes on Iran nuclear facilities, or as the ad said, nuclear facilities, stopped Iran and Israel and Iran from breaking ceasefire, got Europe to more than double payments to NATO. The China trade deal was signed. Inflation is holding steady. Blue-collar wage growth was up 1.7%, highest in 60 years. Statistically, most secure southern border in at least 75 years. White House peace deal signed by Rwanda and the DRC.
Yeah, that could open up some mineral stuff for us, yeah.
Nationwide judicial injunctions stopped by the Supreme Court. Stock market hit record highs, and the Senate advanced the big, beautiful bill. Cleared the first big hurdle there. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a pretty good week.
That's pretty Saturday night to Saturday night.
Wow.
Yeah. And he got, so it was 51-49 in the Senate, so he might have lost Tillis and Rand Paul, but he picked up Ron Johnson.
Right.
So,
right.
There
so
you go.
It's still kind of on track. And the big, beautiful bill continues to work its way through the process. Made it to the debate portion of the process Saturday night, but Chucky Schumer, we love him. He did everything he could to delay the bill by having the bill read on the Senate floor in its entirety.
I'm going to force this chamber to read it from start to finish. I object.
Objections heard. All right. The clerk will read the amendment.
Here we go. Buckle
Strike
up.
all after the enacting clause and insert the following. Section 1, short title. This act may be cited as the one big, beautiful bill.
Okay.
Act.
Okay, got it.
Oh, you got it. Nailed it.
No.
Section 2, table of contents.
Table of contents.
The table of contents of this act.
And we go
and
on.
so on and so forth.
16 hours that went on.
Oh, 16 hours?
1,116 pages. And there you have it.
My gosh.
There you go.
Was it Rand Paul years ago that proposed that no bill could be longer than 2 pages or something? Wasn't there like an introductory page and then an explanation
There was
page?
in America not that long ago, maybe 6-8 months, where we thought we were going to get single bills for all of these issues instead of one big, beautiful bill.
Yeah.
But
which would make sense.
Sure would. So there you go. I mean, the big, beautiful bill, though, I mean, it's going to still have half of the Green New Deal encompassed in it. That's still a part of it. There's some other issues in there, but and
that's the problem with putting everything in it all at once. Then there's going to be things that are really bad in there, and there are some things that are really bad in this bill. There are some great things, a lot of great things, like the tax cuts, making those permanent, which needs to be done. But do it separately. Do it one at a time. Why do we have to put everything into one bill, and then you have to be forced into voting for a bunch of things you don't like to accept things you do? Doesn't make any sense. It's really too bad.
Yeah, and so the goal is still 4th of July, coming up Friday. But still some work to be done.
Yeah.
And I think even Trump acknowledged that they may not make the deadline. So we'll see. And that's part of the gamesmanship that Chuck Schumer plays there.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to read the bill and drag this thing out an extra 16 hours.
Well, at least we know somebody read it.
At least it was read.
Yeah.
At least it was read.
Yeah.
Somebody, exactly. We know it was read.
Somebody read the bill.
And it was probably the Senate parliamentarian.
Yes, or several of them.
It's a lot of power you have as the Senate parliamentarian, we've learned.
Yep. 1,100 pages of that thing. Wow. Also, the situation with Iran continues, and Hakeem Jeffries is upset at President Trump for not going with the Barack Obama school of negotiating.
We also need the case to be made by the administration to the American people as to how to best accomplish the objective of preventing Iran from becoming nuclear capable. Why did they abandon the aggressive diplomacy that was successful under the Obama administration?
Aggressive diplomacy.
Are you kidding me?
Dropping pallets of cash on the runway. That's aggressive diplomacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What a tough way to negotiate that is. Hey, here's $6 billion. We're just leave it for you right here on the runway. Come get it.
There's now a fatwa on the president's head. I don't know if you saw that. So that's cool.
Jeez.
He's now, quote, an enemy of God, according to some Islamic who cares.
Yeah.
Some Islamic who cares? Some Islamic who cares.
Yeah.
Like, that's the title.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Islamic who cares.
Okay. Meanwhile, Senator Lindsey Graham was asked if enriched uranium is still going to be a problem.
Here's where we're at. The program was obliterated at those 3 sites, but they still have ambitions. I don't know where the 900 pounds of highly enriched uranium exists, but it wasn't part of the target set.
Are you concerned that in light of that several years, when the administration is saying it's obliterated, it suggests that they're not able to build a weapon. But you're saying in several years, perhaps they'll be able to.
That's what I'm saying. They're obliterated today, but you can reconstitute.
He's not going to be happy until your sons and daughters are marching through Iran.
That's right. They're obliterated today, but you can reconstitute it. You can? You could reconstitute obliteration?
And they still have ambitions. And until we get rid of their ambitions, he's not going to.
Yeah, no. I mean, how are you going to get rid of their ambitions?
Right.
Of course they're going to have ambition, even after this. President Trump doesn't seem concerned, though, about Iran's enriched uranium.
Do you think that the Iran regime hid some of the enriched uranium before the strikes?
No. You mean, did they take it out of the deep one? No.
Because you were pretty clear you can't have a weapon. You're going to have to come to the talk. Something's going to happen.
I don't think they did. No. I think, first of all, it's very hard to do. It's very dangerous to do. It's very heavy, very, very heavy. It's a very hard thing to do. Plus, we didn't give much notice because they didn't know we were coming until just, then. And nobody thought we'd go after that site because everybody said that site is impenetrable.
He was also asked about the big week he just had.
Mr. President, you were just coming off of one of the most consequential weeks anybody has ever seen, from striking Iran to going to NATO.
Pause it for a second. All right, we'll have to get to
deals.
that. Have to get to that afterwards because we don't want to miss that response. Much more. We got, so much on Zohran Mamdani, President Trump, much more coming up.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
tweets here. Efforting thought criminal tweets, don't worry, Pat. The Cougars might not have Jake Retzloff, but BYU can always find a Mormon to fill his position. Yeah, won't be one as good as Jake Retzloff would have been this year.
Oh.
And that was cool that he was Jewish, and they made such a big deal out of that he was a Jew and going to BYU, and he was the BY Jew.
Yeah, you're going to lose out on that.
You're going to lose out on that. Yeah, that's gone.
Jew.
That's out the window now.
Shoot.
They did find a 5-star Mormon kid, but he won't be there till 2027. We do have some options, and some pretty good ones, too, but we'll see what happens there for a quarterback for the Cougars this year. Jimmy Dimples tweets, under 15-year-old boys beat women's national team. Sounds like a John Hughes movie that sadly never happened. Giblets. Trump asked for a big, beautiful bill. However, I fear that Congress will deliver an out-of-breath, obesely overweight version of the Schoolhouse Rock bill, huffing and puffing on the Capitol Hill steps. Yeah, that's probably true. And from Publius, well, that clerk did more work than most of those senators do in 6 years. Mm-hmm. Reading that 1,100-page bill, yeah, that's way more than they ever do. So the president was asked about his big week. We're about to get to his response, and here's what he had to say.
Mr. President, you were just coming off of one of the most consequential weeks anybody has ever seen, from striking Iran to going to NATO, to announcing 2 deals, and then this Supreme Court victory. Have you been able to digest what has occurred in the last 7 days?
Not really. It was pretty wild period of time, and I really think in 6 months we've taken the country and turned it around. I was told by the King of Saudi Arabia, by the leader of Qatar and the leader of UAE, when we went over there, we brought back $5.1 trillion investment into the United States. They said, you're presiding now over the hottest country in the world, and a year ago we thought your country was dead. It could never come back. It was so incompetently run by a very bad president. And I said, you're right, this country is hot. Right. And that was a couple of months ago. Now we're talking about what we've done recently. So the country is really going. The numbers are great. I watch you in the mornings, and you're giving those numbers, and they're really good. No inflation. We have a bad Fed chairman, but other than that, we have, great. It doesn't even matter. The numbers are so good. It doesn't matter that he keeps the rates artificially high. But it's been an amazing period of time.
Mm-hmm. It has. It has. He was also asked about the New York Democrat nominee for mayor in, November, I guess, would be the election. Still looking for somebody to defeat Zohran Mamdani. But here's what he had to say about this guy.
What did you make of the New York Democrat primary? Mamdani.
He's a communist. I think it's very bad for New York. I don't know that he's going to get in. It's inconceivable that but he's a communist, and he's a pure communist. I think he admits it, but I can't imagine it. But let's say this. If he does get in, I'm going to be president, and he's going to have to do the right thing, or they're not getting any money. He's got to do the right thing. It's shocking that I would have assumed that I used to say we will never have a socialist in this country. No, but we'll have a communist. I mean, he's a communist and going to be mayor of New York. So I was very surprised when I said, I never heard of him. I don't know who he is.
Well, he said he's going to fight ICE. He's not going to allow ICE to...
He'll be very unsuccessful.
And he said if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, he's going to have him arrested.
Oh, he's a radical left lunatic.
Yes. Yes, he is. Wow. And he can't be elected. He can't be mayor of New York City. It just can't happen. Please don't let it happen, New York. Please. Mamdani was making the rounds after his win on Tuesday night. This guy's just gleeful, thinking that here he is, an Islamist, a communist, and he's at the top of the world right now. But here's some of what he had to say.
So when people say democratic socialist, right, and I'm curious what you think this means. I mean, do you like capitalism?
No, I have many critiques of capitalism. And I think ultimately the definition for me of
why I call myself a democratic socialist is the words of Dr. King decades ago. He said, call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And that's what I'm focused on, is dignity and taking on income inequality. And for too long, politicians have pretended that we're spectators to that crisis of affordability. We're actually actors. And we have the choice to exacerbate it, like Mayor Adams has done, or to respond to it and resolve it, like I'm planning to do.
It's weird how just about everybody can find a quote of Dr. King that fits their agenda. Not something. I mean, that's bizarre. At various times in his life, he said various things, and it was kind of all over the place economically and ideologically. I think what he wanted was equal rights for black people, and he wanted to be treated like a human being, and he wanted to be judged on the content of his character, not the color of his skin. The rest of the politics, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air. You hear various things from various people. But to hear Mamdani quote him in that way is just despicable. It's just disgusting. Tried to justify his socialist policies and tried to foist them on the largest city in America, which is a capitalist free market society. Just doesn't make any sense. And he had more on economics.
You call yourself a democratic socialist. The word socialist, of course, has been vilified and used to attack you specifically.
Vilified.
How do you define being a democratic socialist?
I think of the words of Dr. King.
Look at there.
Call it democracy or call it democratic socialism. There must be a better distribution of wealth for all of God's children in this country. And it gets to the heart
he's
of
got the responses. They're canned and ready to go.
Sure does.
Every New Yorker should have what they need to live a dignified life. It shouldn't be something that they can be priced out of. And that's why at the heart of our campaign is this focus on freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants, making the slowest buses in the country fast and free.
There are in the country about 1,200, people who are just wealthy beyond anything, right? And in 25 years ago, there were only about 40 of them.
Oh, wow.
Now there are 1,200 people.
And that's
who
a
are
bad thing?
More than
Cool. Pause it.
$1 billion.
How could that possibly be a bad thing?
Yep.
He's going to present it as if that's terrible. We've gone from 40 billionaires to 1,200 billionaires. Why is that bad? Are they employing people? Yeah, I think so. Are they employing thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands? Yeah, they are. Yeah. How many of the poor people, the poorest people in America, are employing hundreds of thousands of people? 0? Oh, okay. So
the only way you can spin, and they're not doing this, neither of those two guys, from 40 to 1,200 billionaires is bad, is it's called inflation. And we got there because of bad government policies that people like Mamdani want to implement. But that's not the point.
Not how. Yeah, let him finish here.
That has to be addressed at some point because they're not paying the taxes that the rest of us are
What are you
paying.
talking about?
Absolutely, and I think it gets to the heart of
No, they're not paying the taxes the rest of. They're paying much higher taxes than the rest of us. Look, this progressive income tax thing needs to be explained to these total and complete morons. This is a socialist tax system that we're employing here. This is something they should absolutely love, because the wealthier you are, the higher rate you pay. That is a socialist system. Everybody should pay a flat tax. We should all pay the same rate, but then a billionaire would still pay more than I pay because I'm not a billionaire. And 10% of a billion is more than 10% of 1,000. I don't know if you're understanding that concept. It's pretty complex. Jeez.
Yeah. The progressive tax scheme is Karl Marx fever dream.
It is.
And it's been a part of America for over a century now.
Yep. Then it's still not enough for them. It's still not enough. Wow. All right, let him finish here.
Which is that there is enough money for a life of dignity for all people. It's just a question of whether we have the political will to ensure that that money is being spent on delivering that dignity.
Wow. Jeez, these people are the worst. All these socialists now are just all of a sudden crawling out from under whatever rock they were under. Wow. That's just, it's frightening. Frightening. Also, disgraced Congressman Jamal Bowman.
he's a part of this
said
campaign, too.
Something fascinating along these lines.
I'm not surprised, unfortunately. You know, there's so much ignorance toward and around the Muslim religion and Islam as a religion. People from different backgrounds, brown people from different backgrounds. The word socialism is weaponized as some kind of, anti-American thing.
The word socialism is weaponized as some sort of anti-American thing. It's almost like murder. The word murder has been weaponized as some sort of anti-American thing. Yeah, socialism is anti-American. Wow. It's pretty amazing. Do they think that the American people are behind them to this extent? These radical, extremist Democrats now think they're the majority or something? It's amazing. It's amazing that they're letting this all come out now. They used to say this only behind closed doors and really quietly to each other. Yeah, that's why we're calling our nation a democracy, because it's shorthand really for democratic socialism, and we're going to spring that on them eventually. But shh, be very, very quiet. Just use the word democracy right now. Now they're just coming out and saying socialism and democratic socialism. Wow. That is absolutely astounding. This is how far they've come, they think.
Yep.
That they can't be stopped now. So they're just blatantly in our face over it. Wow. All right, let me tell you about Beam. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values. Hard work, integrity, delivering results, free market. It's a healthy nighttime blend. It's packed with science-backed ingredients that are shown to improve your sleep, so you can wake up refreshed and ready to go the next day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all-natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. Beam has already logged 17.5 million better nights of sleep for people who refuse to settle for mediocrity. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount right now of up to 40% off. They're not forced by the government to do that. They're just doing it because it's good business. So get your dream powder right now and get up to 40% off for a limited time. Go to shopbeam.com/Pat. Use the promo code Pat at checkout. That's shop, B-E-A-M, shopbeam.com/Pat. Promo code Pat for up to 40% off.
Now, more Pat Gray Unleashed.
Oh, man. I don't know how much more I can take of the Mamdani stuff. Mamdani, Jamal Bowman. I mean, wow. Amazing.
You want to save a few of these? Because they are...
Are they fun?
Oh,
are they fun?
They're definitely fun.
I mean, are they worse than what we've heard already?
Well, yes.
Yeah? Okay. Well, let's do Mamdani and his views on billionaires. We haven't done that
You are
yet,
a
right?
self-described democratic socialist. Do you think that billionaires have a right to exist?
No.
I don't think that we should have billionaires because, frankly, it is so much money in a moment of such inequality. And ultimately,
Genocide
what we need more of is equality across our city and across our state and across our country. And I look forward to work with everyone, including billionaires, to make a city that is fairer for all of them.
Oh, okay. All right. I bet they look forward to working with him, too.
Yeah.
All billionaires in New York are like, yeah, I can't wait to work with this guy so we can redistribute my wealth to everybody who hasn't worked as hard as I have.
We do hear about his property tax plan for the people.
Okay.
And realize there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal.
Thank you.
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed. We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on saying that he would change in the first 100 days. He's since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are. And ultimately, the thing that motivates me in this is to create a system of fairness. It is not to work backwards from a racial assessment of neighborhoods or our city. Rather, it's to ensure that we actually have an equal playing field. And right now, what we see with the property tax system is one that is overtaxing a number of New Yorkers and undertaxing others, and an inability of political will to resolve that.
So no plans to change that language on your website?
No. The focus here is to actually ensure a fair property tax system, and that the use of that language is just an assessment of the neighborhood.
All right.
Okay.
Wow. All of his class warfare, race warfare, he does it with a smile. This could be what the Antichrist looks like. I mean, 33 years old, well-spoken, good-looking guy, comes out of nowhere.
And I mean, if you can't get on board with his policies, there's the rap career that
there's always that.
Can be
yeah, he's got that to fall back on, which is great. That's great. Man, I would still love an explanation from one of these communist douchebags on how any of these billionaires, the 1,200 billionaires, how is that hurting anybody else? How does that hurt anybody? The fact that Elon Musk has 200 billion, 300 billion, 400 billion, that doesn't take any money, not one penny, out of my bank account. I can still make whatever I can make. So can Keith, so can Lance, so can everybody listening right now. Where is the problem with billionaires? I don't understand it. Why doesn't anybody ever ask these commies? Why is it that billionaires hurt us so badly? How do they hurt us? They're employing people. Whose money are they stealing? They're making their own money. This is a capitalist system. We don't have a pie. We have a bakery here. We're baking money every day. New money comes out all the time because we've got a free market system.
Show me on the doll where the billionaire hurt you.
Yeah, right. Right. Wow. Really dangerous rhetoric from this guy. 888-900-3393. More coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Yeah, welcome to it. 888-900-3393. Also, Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Let me take a minute and tell you about something incredibly delicious, and that would be Kexi cookies. They are, quite simply, the best you'll ever have. Today, by the way, is the last day in June. It is June 30th now. And that means that this is the last day for the peanut butter marshmallow cookie.
What?
Yeah, it's, darn it. So if you want to get this, today's your last day to order because it's going to go away for a while. We're making room for the July cookies and the cookie of the month, but this gooey dream come true is just until midnight tonight. Packed with creamy peanut butter chips, filled with a molten marshmallow center. Oh, so delicious.
Yeah.
It is so good. Don't take my word for it. Here's a 5-star review from one of our customers. It says, this is our third box of cookies, and it won't be our last. These cookies will fill every problem. They will fix every problem listed in a country song. They'll cure your diseases. They'll unite Joe Biden and Donald Trump in announcing an America First taste test contest. They'll reunite Big Mike and Barack Obama and make them conservatives. Okay, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but they'll fill your mouth and belly with flavors of immaculate goodness, and you'll end up needing more. Buy these cookies. Excellent advice. So go to Keksi.com. That's Keksi. Keksi.com. Get your peanut butter marshmallow cookie before midnight tonight. Keksi.com.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
All right, got some tweets here from Sons of Thunder 44. Pat trying to reason with the people of New York City to not vote for Zohran Mamdani. Adorable, but futile. Mm-hmm. I hope not. I mean, this guy is really dangerous. Really, really dangerous.
This guy is a product of just a very loose immigration system in this country, and this guy winning that election is a product of our education system.
Yeah, in part, yes. Uniparty monger. Pretty sure math is a white columnist, a white colonist construct, or something like that. Yeah, math is a white colonist construct.
Exactly. I've been saying that forever.
Have you? Yeah. Have you? Okay. Well, you're right, apparently.
Yep.
Kenneth Parker, I would love to see the numbers on how many millionaires have been created by Elon and Bezos. It's a lot.
Great point.
You know, they used to talk about Microsoft and how many millionaires sprang from Microsoft. It was thousands of millionaires came from that. And that one company. Now, Elon and Bezos, probably even more. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how much wealth has been created and continues to be created. But according to Mamdani, it's a bad thing, I guess, because others aren't as wealthy. So, we got to create this class warfare now. We got another clip from a couple of months ago. This was Mamdani on defining violent crime. Should be fun.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. We have to be very clear that what is happening here.
It's an artificial construction.
That is violence. That is violence of the highest degree.
Oh, man. Wow.
So stealing isn't wrong. It's how we define these crimes. That's what's wrong. Okay.
Can he hit any other issue and spin something positive into a negative or a negative into a positive?
I would call this idiocracy, what New York City is going through.
So much worse than that. It's
so dangerous what they're doing. It's
so
not
much worse.
Funny at all.
No, it's not.
Terrifying.
So he was also asked, he was making the rounds yesterday, and he was asked repeatedly about this term he uses, the global intifada that he supports. And so he has asked about it not once, not twice, 3 times. Check this out.
Give you an opportunity to respond here and now. Do you condemn that phrase, globalize the Intifada?
That's not language that I use. The language that I use and the language that I will continue to use to lead the city is that which speaks clearly to my intent, which is an intent grounded in a belief in universal human rights. And ultimately, that's what is the foundation of so much of my politics, the belief that freedom and justice and safety are things that have meaning, have to be applied to all people, and that includes Israelis and Palestinians alike.
But do you actually condemn it? I think that's the question.
But do you actually condemn it?
Outstanding issue
that is a good question.
Of people,
Ask
both of the Jewish faith and beyond, have.
Yeah.
Do you condemn that phase, globalize the Intifada, which a lot of people hear as a call to violence against Jews?
Here we go. I've heard from many Jewish New Yorkers who have shared their concerns with me, especially in light of the horrific attacks that we saw in Washington, D.C. and in Boulder, Colorado, about this moment of anti-Semitism in our country and in our city. And I've heard
so do
those
you condemn
fears,
it?
and I've had those conversations, and ultimately they are part and parcel of why in my campaign I've put forward a commitment to increase funding for anti-hate crime programming by 800%. I don't believe that the role of the mayor is to police speech in the manner especially of that of Donald Trump, who has put one New Yorker in jail who's just returned to his family, Mahmoud Khalil, for that very supposed crime of speech. Ultimately, what I think I need to show is
jail for
the ability to not only talk about something, but to tackle it and to make clear that there's no room for anti-Semitism in this city. We have to root out that bigotry, and ultimately we do that through the actions.
Yeah, but do you condemn
one that protects Jewish
global
New Yorkers and
Intifada?
lives up to that commitment through the work that I do.
But very quickly, for the people who care about the language and who feel really concerned by that phrase, why not just condemn it?
Right.
My concern is to start to walk down the line of language and making clear what language I believe is permissible or impermissible takes me into a place similar to that of the president, who is looking to do those very kinds of things, putting people in jail for writing an op-ed, putting them in jail for protesting. Ultimately, it's not language that I use, it's language I understand there are concerns about. And what I will do is showcase my vision for the city through my words and my actions.
Wow. 3 times he's asked point blank. 3 times he refuses to condemn it. Where are the Jews in New York City? Where are they? What is the makeup of New York City and the Jewish population there? It's got to be a pretty high percentage. Is it 10, 20%? Where are they? Are you okay with all of this? Where's the ADL talking about this guy? Why aren't you out of your mind with this guy right now? Where is the Anti-Defamation League? The people who would condemn Glenn Beck, who's a bigger supporter of Israel than just about anybody else in this country. They'll condemn him because he calls somebody a Nazi years and years ago. But they won't condemn this guy? I've heard not a peep out of the ADL about this guy, calling for a global intifada. You have a Democrat nominee for mayor talking about a global intifada, will not condemn it. Where are the Jews in New York City? Where are you? My gosh.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. This guy is an Islamist. We've said it before. I'll say it again. He's an Islamist. I don't know if he's a jihadist. He might be that too. He's not just a normal Muslim. I'll tell you that right now. He's not a rank and file, everyday, peaceful Muslim. Not in the least.
No.
Nowhere near that. And he's a communist. That's a pretty bad combination.
For the largest city in the nation.
Yeah.
Right? Which has a budget of over $100 billion. It's going to work out well. And it's even worse than that. He appeared with an imam who was praying to Allah to, quote, guide the shooting of Hamas, calling for the destruction of Israel.
What?
Mamdani tweeted...
Was this recently?
When was this?
Oh, my gosh. I can't believe that's since he got the nomination.
I need to find out when this is.
Yeah,
the tweets were recent. But let's see. He tweeted about his appearance at a terror mosque that prayed for Hamas to win, cursed Jews and Christians, and urged teaching their children to hate everything about America. So in other words, it's like the Jeremiah right to Barack Obama. And he appeared there with this imam. I'm going to find out when that was.
And do you remember the rumor was that Barack Obama was a secret Muslim? This guy is way beyond secret. He's an absolute Islamist Muslim and a communist. These are things that we used to say kind of around the edges about Barack Obama. This guy is proudly all of these things. All of these things. And more.
Yeah. Some are actually, and I don't know how this would work. I don't know how this would play out, but some are asking Donald Trump to revoke Mamdani's citizenship and deport him under the Communist Control Act of 1954.
I'm saying do it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, whatever it takes. Get him out.
I'm pretty much there. We can't risk it. Good heavens. This guy could be the mayor of New York City.
And...
Jeez. I mean, it's stunning. It's stunning. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in the United States of America because, I mean, I guess in the 20s we had some pretty close calls with socialists. And then, you had FDR, who had very socialist tendencies.
Oh, and his entire administration.
And his administration. Yeah, they were. They were lousy with communists and socialists. But we rooted a lot of them out. And now that's a horrible thing, of course. But here we are in 2025 when we should absolutely know better. When we've got all the evidence in the world about how bad and how catastrophic communism has been to this planet. We've got 100 million deaths attributed to communism. And it's not enough. People still don't get it. You would still consider a communist for mayor of New York City and is an Islamist? Jeez. Wow.
Okay. Just so you know, you were asking, when was this? How old were you when Zohran Mamdani tweeted out support for that imam there in Brooklyn who was preaching hate against everyone? Way back when. Way back in January of this year.
Oh, wow.
That's when. Yeah, so it's probably irrelevant to the conversation now.
Yeah, because I was 4 in January.
So
I was 4 years old.
We all make mistakes when we're younger, and his was 6 months ago. 5.
6 months ago! And that's about the time he had, 2% support in New York City? And this guy's rocket ride to the top is chilling. And again, very, very Antichrist-esque.
No.
Don't worry about it.
I don't see this. He's too overt in his hatred. The Antichrist is going to be a little smoother than that, right?
I don't know. He's pretty smooth.
Okay.
He's pretty smooth.
Yeah. He's bold.
He is. And people just falling all over him right now. Jeez. All right. If you want to drop extra pounds, maybe, you want to boost energy levels, you want to reduce swelling in your legs or your feet, then you're going to love these 2 American-made health supplements. First is Liver Health Formula. Fat deposits in the liver can pile on the pounds and make you feel tired, sluggish. Liver Health Formula helps reduce fat deposits with nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. In a consumer survey, almost 60% reported better weight management and 87% reported more energy. Next is lymph system support. The natural ingredients in lymph system support help gently flush extra fluid and toxins out of the body, which can help reduce swelling in the legs and feet. And right now, for a limited time, you can get 35% off Liver Health Formula and lymph system support, along with all 45-plus health supplements Pure Health Research has to offer. So go to purehealthresearch.com. Use the promo code PAT at checkout. That's purehealthresearch.com. Promo code PAT and save 35% on your order today.
Subscribe to Pat Gray Unleashed on iTunes and Spotify.
Well, you want to see how desperate the Democrat Party is? There's a new poll. It shows the favorite in the race for the nomination in 2028. Presidential nomination, 2028.
Okay.
Take a wild guess.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, you would probably think Kamala Harris, right? Since she lost this last time, she'd be first up next time. Sure. Potentially. Nope. She's second. Pete Buttigieg is first. 16%, followed by Kamala at 13%, and then Gavin Newsom at 12%. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, 7. She's way behind. Josh Shapiro at 7. Bernie Sanders, 5. Cory Booker, 3. Gretchen Whitmer, 8th choice on the list at 3%. Andy Beshear at 2. Also, J.B. Pritzker, Wes Moore, all at 2%. Amy Klobuchar, Rahm Emanuel are both at 1%. Someone else at 2%. And then undecided, 23%.
Interesting.
So they have nobody. I think that's what this screams to you, right?
This
They've got nobody.
What you've constantly been saying is the Democrats have no bench whatsoever.
None.
As clearly illustrated by a poll that shows Pete Buttigieg.
Number 1, Pete Buttigieg. Think about this.
Okay.
He has been mayor of South Bend, Indiana.
I mean, that's a resume builder.
Oh, is it ever? Mayor of South Bend, Indiana. Not New York City, not Washington, D.C., not Los Angeles, California. South Bend, Indiana. And transportation secretary. And he sucked at both jobs.
At both of them.
But especially transportation secretary. I mean, and that's your number 1 lead candidate for the Democrats.
I mean, it's a story as old as history, is that the transportation secretary job is a stepping stone to the White House.
Isn't it, though? It's a tale as old as time.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, Democrats.
Over and over and over we see it.
So.
Okay, good luck. You might as well throw Richard Gephardt into that mix.
Right.
Might as well. He'd do just as well as any of the rest of these nobodies. I mean, they've got no one. Seriously, the only one who could maybe rise to the top here, probably because she's such a loudmouth, is Ocasio-Cortez. AOC, maybe? I don't know. Even she's a socialist, too. She'd have a tough time. She'd certainly be beaten by the Republican, whoever it is.
Wes Moore is in that.
Wes Moore's in there.
Speak softly and
you know where he is?
Make it seem like a...
That's exactly where Bill Clinton was in 1990.
Where was Obama in 2000?
About there.
6-ish.
Yeah, probably around there.
I'd love to see. So, hold on. Let me look up 2005 Democrat polling. I bet he didn't even poll. You know, he would have because he had
started
that
to because
in 2004.
The speech that was supposed to be so moderate and so uniting. Oh, he's a uniter. Is he? I mean, he just about destroyed this country with his uniting ways. So where was he?
At this point, the first thing that popped up here was a Marist poll from March of 2005, February 2005. 2008 Democrat primary. Remember, Obama gets the win there. And but basically at this time, it was Hillary Clinton at 39%.
Wow.
John Kerry at 21%. John Edwards at 15%. Biden, 5%. Wesley Clark, 4%. Russ Feingold, 2%. Bill Richardson, 2%. Evan Bayh, 1%. Mark Warner, 1%. Tom Vilsack, less than 1%. Undecided, 10%. Barack Obama didn't even show up on the poll at this point in 2005.
Wow. So, could be somebody else.
Could be somebody
Could be somebody
Could be Zohran Mamdani. Oh, no, he can't.
He's too young.
Well, he's born in
Well,
Uganda,
no,
too.
that's right. That's right. He can't run. He's too young now, but by the time 28 would roll around, he would be of age. He just can't because he was born in Uganda. So, dodged that bullet.
That's right. So maybe not America's problem, but
definitely
New York's. NMP, not my problem, but it's yours. But you've made
I
the
consider
point
it
that
my problem.
Exactly. It's America's largest city. Has way too much
It'd be catastrophic.
power.
It'd be catastrophic. Don't let it happen, New Yorkers.
But think of this though. You would have Trump would have somebody to play off of for the rest of his presidency.
Yeah.
You know, just pointing out, I mean, that would be your I don't know, I'm looking for any silver lining here.
That's not much of one, but okay.
Trump can
all right.
have somebody to go after. Compare and contrast. That's all I got.
It was a bad weekend for Ketanji Brown Jackson. She had the scolding basically from Amy Coney Barrett, which was fantastic. The thing we didn't read earlier that I wanted to get to, and we didn't quite get there, was the fact that she brought up Martians in her dissent. Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I did not see this part.
My gosh. In her dissent, she wrote, a Martian arriving here from another planet. Well, I guess that would be Mars would be the other planet if it's a Martian. Which,
well,
by the way,
they relocated.
They don't exist. But yeah, maybe they've immigrated to Venus. So let's say.
So you're saying Venus via Mars?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But she says a Martian arriving here from another planet would see these circumstances and surely wonder, what good is the Constitution then? Oh, man.
How did I not see this? This is brilliant.
Brilliant.
She's such a great legal
gosh,
mind.
An embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment, which is why Amy Coney Barrett wrote, we will not dwell on Justice Jackson's argument, which is at odds with more than 2 centuries worth of precedent, not to mention the Constitution itself. We observe only this. Justice Jackson decries an imperial executive while embracing an imperial judiciary.
For Martians.
So good. Oh, man. But at least the rulings went the right way this particular time. And they were, I think each of them were 6-3 decisions, were they not?
I think so.
So it went right down ideological lines.
So do you think that was history in the making? Is that the first time that Martians have gotten a nod in a Supreme Court dissent?
My guess would be yes.
That's hot.
Yeah.
That's a hot
It's a hot take.
Yes, it is.
It is. It is. And she'll forever have that. You know, she's got that. Nobody else has brought up a Martian in a dissent of a Supreme Court ruling.
She is so dumb.
Oh, my gosh. It's just no wonder she couldn't identify what a woman is. She thinks Martians exist and they immigrate to other planets.
Okay, you keep getting hung up on the whole Martians exist. I didn't say that they didn't exist. I just said she's dumb.
Okay. All right.
She is one of a kind.
She really is.
How old is she? She's going to be around for decades.
Oh, I think she's only in her 50s.
Oh, gosh.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, she's fairly young.
Oh, cool. Well,
she's got her around for a long time.
So
probably.
as long as she's there, you'll at least have one on the left side
Unless
of the
she
ledger.
gets tired like Sotomayor, who really seems beat down by the schedule already, and she doesn't want any part of it.
54 years old. Ketanji
54.
Brown Jackson.
Good golly.
That's awesome.
Oh, my gosh. Ugh. All right, 888-900-3393. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Did you see Pam Bondi fired 3 more? Well, I think these are the first 3 J6 prosecutors that she's fired. But, of course, the left is going crazy about it. How dare you fire the brightest minds in the Department of Justice? Were they? Were they the brightest minds going after grandmothers all over the country? Yeah, okay. All right. So, yeah, finally got around to firing some of these prosecutors, 3 of them. Also, have you noticed that attacks on ICE agents are up 413% just since Donald Trump took office? 413%. Just unbelievable. It's amazing what we're being subjected to right now by the left. All right, let me take just 1 minute and tell you about Unique RV. I've always dreamed of doing that whole RV road trip thing. But planning it out, that's kind of the part that overwhelms me. Where do you even start? Well, that's where Harvest Hosts comes in. This podcast is sponsored in part by Harvest Host. If you own or you're going to rent an RV with a Harvest Host membership, you get unlimited, no-fee overnight RV stays at 9,500 plus host locations across the U.S. and Canada. For just $79 a year, you can book unique destinations and stay at incredible places all year long. Forget parking your RV at a boring rest area. Harvest Hosts let you stop overnight at amazing locations like wineries, orchards, museums, farms, golf courses, drive-in movie theaters, and a lot more. Add adventure to your travels, all while discovering new destinations and supporting unique businesses across the country. Harvest Hosts makes the trip planning really easy with their mapping tool. You can filter by attraction type, by rig length, and a lot more to show you all the host locations that are on your route. All you have to do is pick your destination and book it. Most hosts confirm within about 5 minutes. So they've got over 50,000 five-star reviews. You're sure to love your journey. Between now and July 8th, Harvest Hosts has an amazing offer. Go to harvesthosts.com, use the promo code UNLEASHED30 to get 30% off your Harvest Host membership. Once again, that's harvesthosts.com for 30% off by July 8th. And make sure you use my promo code UNLEASHED30 so they know that I sent you.
Pat Gray is Unleashed.
You know, I bet a lot of people don't even know that Rwanda and Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo, have had issues. You know, do you even know that there's, war going on there?
And it's something that, nothing gets by this president, right? Especially on the world stage.
When people are dying on a regular basis, he's concerned and he's trying to stop it. It's pretty amazing. Had he been president during the Rwandan genocide, I think he would have stopped it. But man, Rwanda's gone through some stuff. And so Rwanda, Congo, and Marco Rubio got together for a signing ceremony to acknowledge a peace accord.
Secretary Rubio, Foreign Minister Wagner, Foreign Minister Duhungire, Minister of State Al-Khulaifi, African Union Chairperson Yusuf, Foreign Minister Dissent, ambassadors, members of Congress, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen.
Longest intro in history.
Thank you for joining for the historic signing of a comprehensive peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Republic of Rwanda. In a moment, Secretary Rubio and the foreign ministers of the DRC and Rwanda will sign an agreement that builds on the Declaration of Principles signed here on April 25th.
Nice.
With their signatures, the peace agreement will enter into force, bringing an end to a 30-year conflict and setting
30 years.
Both countries and their people on a path towards peace and prosperity.
Wow. 30 years it's been going on. I didn't even know it was that long. I knew it had been going on for some time. 30 years? That's unbelievable. Rwanda's foreign minister praised President Trump on this peace accord.
Because it's the signing of a peace agreement between Congo and Rwanda to end a conflict that has been going on for 30 years. And there has been many mediation, facilitation in the past, but none of them succeeded. And we believe that it's because of your leadership and your steadfast commitment to this process, with also a new approach of economic integration, regional economic integration, which is important to allow Rwanda and DRC working together, because this is a very rich region with cross-border trade, with minerals, with natural wealth. So with the U.S. Standing side by side with Rwanda and DRC, we believe that we will achieve a long-time peace. And we also believe that, as my colleague from DRC stated, it's important for the United States to stay committed, because today we signed, but now we need to implement what we have signed in order to open this new era you were talking about of prosperity, so that we can reap the economic dividend of peace. So for this economic integration framework to be implemented, it's important for the U.S. to accompany the parties to implement what we have signed, because in the past we have signed so many agreements that were not implemented. And we are really, we believe that with your leadership, with the involvement of the United States administration, we will reach that goal. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, this will happen definitely. I can reach over. Do you want to just press them over to me? Let me have them.
That's good.
And I just wanted to give you each. These are your signed agreements. And we'll make sure that you follow through. We'll make sure you follow through. Yeah. We'll make sure that you follow through. Okay, that's for you. And we have one other thing that we're going to give.
Coin time.
Special people only. It's a coin.
Thank you.
And I hope you do that. I'm going to give you a second one for your leader.
Oh, cool. Thank you very much.
And my guys will do that.
That's awesome.
How's this guy not nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize? I mean, you've got Rwanda, DRC. You have India, Pakistan, Israel, Iran. It might be brokering something between Israel and Hamas right now.
Ukraine and Russia need to get on the train. Let's go.
Be nice. Yeah, that'd be great.
But that was playing out on Friday, I was thinking, you love to see something this impactful in Africa involving the United States again, because we have lost that continent and the influence to China.
Right.
And they cannot be happy seeing peace come to an area that will benefit America in the long run economically.
And it's been going on for 30 years. Time for that killing to stop. Just amazing. Did anybody care up until this point? Did you ever even hear Joe Biden mention it? I don't think I ever heard him mention it even once.
Yeah.
This has been going on since Bill Clinton. He did nothing about it. George W. Bush did nothing about it. Barack Obama, nothing about it. And it apparently escaped President Trump even the first time around, but he's taking care of it now.
And
amazing.
I wonder how instrumental Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, was in getting this. I mean, I was talking with my grandmother over the weekend, who will be 100 years old in just a few weeks. And I said, can you think in your lifetime of a more effective Secretary of State? And we sat there and we Googled and we thought, and she said, George Marshall, after World War II, rebuilding Europe. And then she said Truman's other guy, Atchison. I was like, okay, I had to look him up, and she's probably right about that. She did not like Henry Kissinger. She was not a fan, but she said he got a lot done, but not necessarily good stuff. But she said Rubio's right up there. And we're only 5 months into this guy's tenure as Secretary of State.
Who knows what he can do?
Yeah.
During his
this has been such a pleasant surprise, this role for Marco Rubio, Secretary of State.
He's been great. Yeah, this whole administration is pretty impressive.
Sure is.
I like him.
Yeah, he had a lot of time to instead of getting a team thrown on him like the first time, welcome to Washington, here's your insiders that betrayed him at every possible turn.
Right, that's
he
for
had
sure.
time to, and I don't know that you would have gotten as strong of a team in Trump 2.0. We've said this many times. If 2020 had gone his way. So you get the guy seething and plotting in the best possible ways for 4 years, and we got a dream team.
Look what's happened here. It's incredible. It's incredibly impressive. Here at The Blaze, we're officially calling this 4th of July No King's Day. Because, let's be honest, that's what the 4th of July really is. It's not just fireworks or cookouts. It's the day we told King George to go kick rocks. Beat it. We rejected the idea of a monarchy, of elites and unaccountable power, and said we'd be ruled by we the people. That's the spirit behind Independence Day. We didn't just break up with England. We built something better, a constitutional republic grounded in liberty, individual rights, and God-given freedom. No kings, no tyrants, just self-governance under the rule of law. So this year, to celebrate our independence from the crown and everything BlazeTV stands for, we're doing something we've never done before. Right now, for the first time ever, you can get a 7-day free trial of BlazeTV. That means full access to every show, every documentary, every unfiltered voice we have. Completely free for 1 week. It's your chance to celebrate true freedom with us. Support honest media and decide for yourself what's worth watching. Celebrate No King's Day the way the founders would have wanted by choosing truth over tyranny. Start your 7-day free trial right now at blazetv.com/Pat. That's blazetv.com/Pat. No promo code necessary. Just sign up for an account and start watching today and let freedom scream. Or stream. Or scream and stream.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Screaming.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Got a cool collaboration going right now with PragerU and the White House, and I think you're going to like these. This is really good. This is PragerU on William Floyd.
My name is William Floyd. I was born on Long Island near the edge of the sea. When my father died, I was barely in my 20s, and the land became my charge. From it, I raised crops, cattle, and character. Could not stand idle while Parliament taxed and ruled us like children across an ocean. By the time I signed the Declaration of Independence, I was 41 years old, a husband, a father, and a general in the militia. Knowing the cost, I signed anyway. Just before we signed the Declaration, a nervous delegate said, "Floyd, if we get our necks in the noose for this, you'll kick half an hour after I'm quiet." I reckon he was right. I was built for hard work and hard battles. Shortly after the British invaded Long Island, they took my home. My wife and children fled under threat of fire and sword. But we did not yield. I took up command in the militia, rose to Major General, and helped carry the war forward. My family, like this country, endured, rebuilt, and reclaimed what was lost. Liberty comes at a cost. I paid it willingly. So must you.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
That's very cool. Yeah, I like that. That must have been one of the early clips on YouTube. One of the very, very... William Floyd doing one. That's what is that, 250 years old almost?
Yeah, and he had to do that with 4G, not 5G.
Right.
Internet. Because back in the colonial time.
A lot slower back then.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't dial-up, though. They didn't have to deal with that, did they?
No.
I hope not.
That's why we broke away from the British. It's a little-known thing. It's like, we will not be...
Right.
256 baud. Damn you, King George. So
we're tired of that noise.
Oh, that's nostalgia now. That was the original dopamine hit right there.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, is it going to connect? Yes. And then 2 minutes later, your dad picks up the phone line down the hall, and you're like, no, I'm on the internet. Oh, bro.
Oh, no. Yeah, you remember that, the AOL connection? That was the on-ramp to the World Wide Web.
Information superhighway.
Yeah.
The on-ramp to the information superhighway.
Right. So William Floyd, one of the earlier users of it.
Uh-huh.
This is really cool because next year is the 250th anniversary. So this is a good precursor to that.
And it's one of those things that if Trump were in office 4 years ago, he wouldn't be around for the 250th anniversary.
And I'll bet it'd be ignored.
Well, and this was one of his plans there that he talked about. We got to celebrate this country. And the next year is going to be sensational with stuff like this. How did he wanted to make this big thing in Iowa for I forget what it was called, but it was the 250th celebration, and it was going to be a whole bunch of good stuff happening right there in the middle of the country at the Iowa Fairgrounds. And it just sounds like the plans that they have to celebrate
still on?
her birthday. I'm pretty sure. I don't know where it stands, though.
One of the things they're thinking about bringing back from the bicentennial back in 1976 was the Freedom Train. They put a whole bunch of really cool artifacts on a train that traveled all over the country and made stops everywhere that people could go visit.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, never hit the mean streets of Helena, Montana, as you can maybe imagine. But I understand it was really, really cool. And they might do that again.
That's cool. And just to put a bow on this PragerU thing, it's all these little 2-minute vignettes of founders. I mean, Betsy Ross is one of them. It's not just the signers, but it's AI done in such a positive way to educate.
Yeah,
and
it's very cool.
We will link to this thread that contains all of these little vignettes at Pat Unleashed if you want to go and watch these.
Let's play this one from John Hancock, too.
Okay, cool.
If you've ever glanced at our glorious Declaration of Independence for more than a moment, you've no doubt seen my name. I made certain King George did not miss John Hancock. Born in Massachusetts, I was raised among wealth, but I wagered all of it on the cause of liberty. When the king taxed us without our say, I refused to bow. They called me a smuggler. I called it resistance. As president of the Continental Congress, it was my duty and my honor to be the first to sign the Declaration of Independence. And I signed big, so there'd be no mistake. Some say there may have been a price on my head. I gave them every reason to raise it. I said, there, John Bull can read my name without spectacles and may now double his reward from my head. I believed if liberty was worth fighting for, it was worth risking everything. I put my fortune to use on behalf of the cause, giving what I had to help birth this republic. That signature of mine, it made history. Even now people say, put your John Hancock here.
They do.
Imagine that, a name turned symbol. Later, I became the first elected governor of Massachusetts under our state's new constitution. But no title meant more than that moment in Philadelphia when we pledged our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor, and we meant every word. Liberty is not given, it is claimed and kept. Let my signature serve as a symbol to inspire you to add your own name to the cause of liberty.
Good stuff.
So good. I get chills from that.
And see, we have such, as Americans, short attention spans. And you're trying to introduce people to the founders. What better way than just these 2-minute...
just little 2-minute things.
I love it. I love it. Great.
Unless you think that it's just it's sexism. Here's Betsy Ross.
You may not know my voice, but you've surely seen my handiwork. I am Betsy Ross, an upholsterer, a widow, a patriot, and, as the story goes, the woman who stitched the first American flag. I fought in our revolution, not with muskets and powder, but with needle and thread. In those early days, even a single star sewn in defiance of a crown was an act of rebellion.
Wow.
I lost a husband to this war, killed a militia explosion. I lost business, sleep, and security, but I never lost heart. As I recall it, when George Washington came to my shop with a sketch and a vision, I offered more than a design. He showed me a flag with 6 pointed stars, but I told him 5 would be quicker to cut and just as fine. He agreed. 13 stars, 13 stripes, one united cause. It was just cloth, but it carried courage. It flew over camps, over homes, over battles, stitched not only with thread, but with hope. I was not alone. Women across the colonies spun linen, mended uniforms, melted pewter into bullets, and sent sons to war. It wasn't only men who built this country. It was mothers, wives, daughters, seamstresses. So, no, I didn't sign the Declaration, but I left my mark in every wave of that flag. Some think I was spinning a yarn about my involvement with the flag, but my story speaks to something far more important. Back then, flags were more utilitarian than symbolic. And what a mighty symbol it's become. Let it remind you that even the smallest stitch can hold together the greatest cause.
And where can you get these again?
Well, it was interesting. It was a thread there on Twitter, but I think PragerU has them out probably on their YouTube channel.
Okay.
I would imagine. I'm not positive on that, but it's done in conjunction with the White House.
It's great for the 4th of July coming up. What is that, Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, Friday. And probably have Friday off, so this is a good time to see it and get in the mood for it. And hopefully for next year, on the 250th anniversary, again, we'll get that freedom. You know, the Freedom Train back in 76 was John Wayne's idea?
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Ha!
Yeah, pretty cool. There's a guy named Ross Rowland who had run away from home in the 1950s and somehow ended up working as a groundskeeper for John Wayne. And so John Wayne befriended him, and they eventually convinced him to return home. So Rowland, whose father, grandfather, and great-grandfather had all been railroad men, had success on Wall Street, and then commemorated the centennial of the 1869 Golden Spike, the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad, by having a steam train travel from New York City to Salt Lake City. And so Wayne joined him for that final leg of that journey. So years later, after he was his groundskeeper, and as they rode in that open-air train car, checking out the crowds that they passed by, Rowland says Wayne told him something to the effect of, you know, Ross, we've got America's 200th birthday coming up. We should do this for that. And they did. So that's how.
Now you know
the rest of the story. So hopefully something really cool like this will happen. I know that when Glenn was in D.C. doing the tour with President Trump, they had some discussions about how we might be involved here at the Blaze. So I think there's going to be some special, really cool things happening next year. Yeah. All right. We got overtime coming up today. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.